I remember back in December when we all met for the first time, Jamie and Shauna had laid flags out on the tables to show us where to sit, and I had limited knowledge of any of the countries. I knew Mexico's flag, but wandered around the room until someone finally asked me what I was looking for. So that's how my journey with Team Kupenda got started. From that meeting to a gathering at Houlihan's, the bonding took off. We really should have tracked the number of hours we spent together in this spring semester. Team Kupenda was always together, meeting, laughing, planning, and just hanging out.
Everybody wants to love. Everybody wants to be loved. Oh, 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 oh.
Our biggest fundraising success was our fake Patty's Day bake sale in Aggieville. With green muffins and all, we raised almost $500 and of course walked away with plenty of hilarious stories. As the semester came to a close, everyone left Manhattan anxiously anticipating the bus ride to Chicago and further on to Nairobi. We met up for dinner before our bus took off, snapped some pictures of ourselves and our insane amount of luggage, and took off. After an extremely bumpy bus ride, we made it to Chicago for a day of sightseeing.
Oh, oh, oh. Everybody wants to love. Everybody wants to be loved. Oh, 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 oh.
Our flight to London was full of kicking and screaming children, but that was only a glimpse of the excitement we would share for over 2 months.
first time we could be walking around a zoo.
Highlights of seeing Parliament, Taylor fulfilling his dream of seeing Big Ben, and us accidentally running into President Obama were just a few of those moments.
My hands over your eyes, but you'll peek through and there'll be sun, sun, sun all over our bodies, and sun, sun, sun all down our necks, and there'll be sun, sun, sun all over our faces, and sun, sun, sun.
And finally, after 6 months of planning and extreme sleep deprivation, we landed in Nairobi to embark on the summer of our lives. Yay!
Happy day, oh happy day, oh happy day.
Going to Kenya, there were so many preconceived notions that my team and I had. I will never forget my first hilarious memory of sitting on that plane about to land in one of the most beautiful countries and tricking Sierra into thinking there was a lion on the runway. We had no idea what we were going to experience, and we only had these assumptions of what the whole continent of Africa was like. My team and I had extreme jet lag and were very overwhelmed with excitement and nerves. Once we got settled into the hotel and gathered our thoughts together, Edward called us to tell us Paul would be there to pick us up in 30 minutes Kenya time. 5 hours later, we met the most amazing people, Sharu and Paul, who came and showed us all around Nairobi. To the giraffe center one day and got to have the giraffes eat out of our mouths, which was really gross and really cool at the same time. We also went to some museums where we learned a lot about the history of Kenya. I'm pretty sure after a couple of days in Nairobi, we fell in love with Kenya and the people living there. It was then time for us to head to the Children and Youth Empowerment Center, where we stayed for the summer.
Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. I'm talking about the happy days. Oh, happy day. Come on and talk about the happy.
The first thing we see when we drive into the gates of the CYC is Jacinta, who is a 6-year-old, might I add, sprinting with a machete above her head. We met with the Penn State crew and spent the rest of the night with the kids. For dinner, rice and beans were served and sometimes potatoes. The children at the CYC are the light of my life. I know that they have touched each and every one of our hearts and we will forever be changed. Throughout those 2.5 months, we grew so extremely close to these kids to the point where we considered packing some of them in our bags to take home with us. Although we were at the YMCA drop-in center during the day, we played with them from 4 p.m. till they went to bed. Whether we were playing Ring Around the Rosie, tag, also known as It's You game, soccer, hopscotch, playing Jenga, reading books, doing homework, or drawing with chalk and coloring it all over our faces, we were together and having fun.
The CYAC had recently formed the Drop-In Center initiative upon our arrival in Nyeri, and asked that we volunteer our time working, building, and developing this program. The concept of the Drop-In Center was thought of by Paul Mina, the CYAC founder, as a way to further the reaches and impact of the CYAC and other street youth. The Drop-In Center gave those youth endless opportunities with vocational and life skills to continue their growth as individuals and young adults. As a portion of this program, these youth were able to work in the development of a shamba, a roughly 5-acre plot of land, with various vegetables such as kale, spinach, beets, and carrots, and were given a herd of rabbits. The youth used the rabbit herd and the vegetable production as a means to gain skills in agriculture production to eventually take to market to sell for profit. A typical day at the Drop-In Center consisted of us getting there around 9:30 every morning and beginning work in the shamba with the guys. Around 10:30 or 11, we would take a 30-minute break for tea and use that time to rest and catch up with all of the guys. After tea, we would continue to work in the shamba until 1 or 1:30 and then head to lunch while the guys ate the lunch that was prepared for them at the YMCA. In the afternoons, we would split our times between art classes, yoga, karate, ping pong, and counseling sessions. By the time we were packing up to leave the CYAC and Drop-In Center for the summer, we had seen these incredibly talented and intelligent youth accomplish so much, it was tough to believe that they were any different from any of us. Saying goodbye to these young men was one of the hardest things any of us had ever had to do, but we all knew that we were better people because of the youth that we were able to serve and the ways they were able to change our lives forever.
1, 2, 3,
We spent our days in Nearytown at the YMCA Drop-In Center, and after a long day, we would often head to a shop or market in town for supplies for the next day, or we would simply relax and discuss the day at our favorite coffee shop, Julie's. We would then return home to the CYC in Thinguma and spend our afternoons and evenings with the kids, talking, relaxing, playing games, having our hair braided, and playing football. In the evenings, we would wind down by heading to the corner store for a bag of milk and making tea in our kitchen. We loved every minute of our time at the CYC. On the weekends, we would travel around the country to see and learn more about the culture. We traveled to Nyahururu to visit Thompson Falls, a breathtaking waterfall. We also enjoyed spending time in the neighboring town, Nanyuki, to visit the equator and to relax at the Lily Pond Restaurant and Art Gallery, and the Tree Trout Restaurant, where we could dine in a treehouse restaurant surrounded by colobus monkeys. The girls also visited Nanyuki River Camel Camp, where we rode camels, ate camel meat, slept in Somalian huts, and appreciated the peace and beauty of the great outdoors. We were fortunate enough to be able to experience an African safari at Solio Ranch in Aberdare National Park. Seeing the exotic animals right outside our vehicle was a phenomenal experience, one we will surely not forget anytime soon. We were able to hike Mount Kenya one weekend, and we spent this time just enjoying the low-key feel and appreciating each other's company. On our last day in Kenya, a few team members traveled to Kibera, a part of Nairobi that is the largest slum in the world. It was fascinating seeing such a drastically different lifestyle.
And just like that, after a semester of preparation and Kupenda bonding in the States, months worth of excitement and reflection, and one tremendously dynamic set of 10 weeks, the summer was over. During the last week in Kenya, the team turned inward and reflected on what had happened. We had downed a deep dish pizza in the heart of Chicago, considered taking an evening train to Paris before running into President Obama in London, kissed giraffes, ate fish eyeballs, met with true leaders of social change, learned the meaning of Rastafarian, sorta hiked Africa's second tallest mountain. But these weren't the experiences that drove our growth. What really mattered to us were the relationships we had built with some of Africa's most brilliant minds and most kindred souls. We had developed deep relationships with the children of the CYAC and the youth of the Drop-In Center, spending time with them and connecting to them way beyond the surface level. We had lived in Africa and made a family there. It was not at all easy to leave Kenya, and we found ourselves struggling in our return to reconcile where we had been and where we are now. But even to this very moment, we find ourselves identified passionately, not just by any hopes, but by the hopes and experiences we share with the kids at the CYAC. We identify ourselves by the work of the youth of Nyeri. We identify ourselves by our growth and awareness, by their truth and their love, and by the giant web that brings us all together. And now, as we finish presenting this glimpse into one team's summer of growth, struggle, service, connection, meaning, love, and change, we identify ourselves by the future the people of Africa so graciously handed us.